Tonight on The View, John Kelly is joined by guests Natasha Fennell, Owen Harris and Ivana Bacik. Viewers are advised that parts of the programme contain strong language that some viewers may find offensive.
Tonight on The View, Cate Blanchett steals hearts in Bandits, Tom Hunter's pre-Raphaelite squatters, secrets and lies in Daddy's Girl, and Big Daddy John Goodman in storytelling. In performance, Barabbas go way out east in Dog, and on our panel tonight, barrister, academic and feminist campaigner Ivana Bacik, Fianna Fáil chief fundraiser Natasha Fennell, and journalist and screenwriter Owen Harris. Good evening and welcome to The View. When Cate Blanchett appears on screen, we're inclined to sit up and take notice. She's had a thriving career in Australian and British theatre, and she's won all sorts of theatre and movie awards, and an Oscar nomination for playing the lead in Elizabeth. Her latest movie is Barry Levinson's new comedy Bandits, with supporting cast of Bruce Willis and Billy Bob Thornton. Natasha, she's billed in this as an ordinary housewife, but she's hardly an ordinary housewife. She's wonderful.
The first scene of her singing in the kitchen with the wooden spoon to her hand, singing to Bolly Tyler, is fantastic. Bandits is set in Oregon in the States. It stars Billy Bob Thornton and Bruce Willis. And they're great friends, but they're also sleepover bandits, which means they basically turn up at bank managers' houses and rob them. And then they bump into Cate Blanchett, who is a bored housewife and who sings to wooden spoons. And she decides to join them, and it develops into this triangle of love between the three of them. A great film.
But she really carries it, doesn't she? I mean, she's such a quirky character, and to make a film about a Bonnie Tyler fan is just absolutely brilliant, because everybody knows the words, but nobody would admit to knowing
that cringy scene where they start saying the words to each other, herself and Bruce Willis.
Let's have a look at that one. Here's Bruce Willis as Clark Gable and Cate as Claudette Colbert in It Happened One Night.
Once upon a time I was falling in love. Now I'm only falling apart.
Nothing I can do. Total eclipse of the heart.
Once upon a time there was light in my life. Now there's only love in the dark.
Nothing I can do. Total eclipse of the heart.
Oh my God. Give me a break.
Turn around. Bright eyes.
I can't believe you know that song.
Owen, there's one big problem with Cate Blanchett in this movie, I think, in that you can't take your eyes off her.
Yeah, well, nothing illustrates the great gulf between men and women as they're listening to Ivana and Natasha talking about what they loved about the Cate Blanchett bit. Like, the last thing that turns men on is that singing in the kitchen, Bonnie Tyler. That bit I just freaked. This is kind of women's notion.
It turned on Bruce Willis, didn't it?
Well, I mean, that's just a measure of the problem with his character. What turns men on about Cate Blanchett has nothing to do with her doing sort of simulacrums of country and western. It is just the fact that she's got a light under her skin. She's got these amazing legs, and above all, when she lies in the bed, she's got a big, raw-boned, Australian backside.
We get the message.
She's no babe waif. She's a big woman.
But it's her character, don't you think? It's her character.
No, it's not.
That's
so women's talk.
And so attractive.
Men like different things about women.
By the way, on that note, can I say that Bruce Willis, normally I don't go for him at all. And I always remember him with this dreadful voice register, being kind of squeaky. He is beautiful in this film.
He looks a lot older.
And he's older.
Agree at all.
Grey hair.
Don't agree at all. Thought Bandits was
so
overhyped as a film. Thought Bruce Willis was boring. I dropped off loads of times during. I actually nodded off. Now I do nod off.
Well, it is about half an hour too long. I think it is too long.
I only woke up to watch Blanchett. I thought Billy Bob Thornton carried the movie because he had his incredible lines there. Being a hypochondriac, being a constant talker, he had so much work.
But I thought he was too intelligent for that role, actually. I thought his face...
It was a very old-fashioned role, wasn't it? It was a kind of an old black and white role for him.
You know, it's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance.
And doesn't the formula wear a little thin? Because, you know, it is too long. You sort of feel, well, the joke is worn off. I've got it now. The hypochondriac is too easily played for laughs.
Oh, no, it's great.
It was overhyped, wasn't it? I mean,
it was overhyped.
It's not as good
fun,
as, say,
but it's
Dirty
not.
Rotten Scoundrels, which is another two men and a woman film. It's not as funny as that. And I mean, I did nod off. I mean, I actually found myself, you know, I have a kind of some kind of hormonal barometer that wakes me up when Cate Blanchett comes back on screen. But I dropped out from lots of the robbery, plotty, boring, talky
I loved
bits.
those
You know?
Do you think, Natasha, really this movie was anything more than just a star vehicle for the two guys? You know, and Cate Blanchett was brought in to kind of dress it up.
Yeah, she was brought in to dress it up. I thought there was all sorts of talk about this deep friendship between them, which wasn't. You know, it was a superficial friendship. It wasn't anything that you'd. But
it's a superficial film as well.
Listen, I saw it on a Sunday afternoon. It is good Sunday afternoon entertainment.
Absolutely,
I'd heard nothing about it in advance. I went along. I was pleasantly surprised, and as I say, I was pleasantly surprised by Bruce Willis, and that's enough.
And Brian Byrne, the Irish guy, he had a lovely little party.
That was a shock when he appeared. I didn't know he was in it. Suddenly he's there. Well, here, we're going to take another clip. Here, Billy Bob, as Joe meets up with Kate with a C, playing Kate with a K.
You pull over, and you pull over and get out of the car.
You have to get all huffy about it.
You need to pull the car over.
It was an accident.
Listen, I'll shoot you with this thing.
Oh, go ahead. But being through it, believe me.
Listen to me, miss.
Kate.
Kate, I'm a desperate man.
Desperate?
Yes.
You don't know the meaning of the word. Desperate is when you wake up in the morning and you wish you hadn't. It's knowing that every time you get behind the wheel of a car, you're only a tree away from ending the empty charade that your life has become. So don't talk to me about desperate.
Listen, on second thought, why don't you just pull over and let me out right here? Thank you for the lift,
No.
but I'll be fine.
No.
I'll just walk from here. Why?
I'm feeling very afraid at the moment. I don't think I should be alone.
You're insane!
One more word on this, Natasha. You recommend go and see it?
I do. If you want Sunday afternoon entertainment, it's great fun.
Ivana?
Yeah, but no more than that, and too long. You may want to leave about half an hour before the end.
A must-see for heterosexual males, you know.
Bandits is on general release, and we'll be seeing Cate Blanchett again, all we'll be glad to know, in a couple of weeks in Lord of the Rings. When Marion O'Neill's first novel, Miss Harry Elliot, was published in 1999, she was greeted as a hugely accomplished and distinctive new voice. Now comes that difficult second book, Daddy's Girl. Ivana, old-fashioned kind of a book in a way, direct story?
Yeah, very old-fashioned kind of book. Disappointing, I found it ultimately. It's about a girl called Lisa, who's, I think it starts when she's in her early teens, about 13. And it starts off very much focused on her relationship with her mother. She lives alone with her mother in a little two-room cottage somewhere, and you're not sure where. And that was one of my problems with the book. There's no real sense of place in it. I think maybe north of England. I know she's I think she's described as an Irish writer, but no sense of where this is set or when it's set. But the names are very old-fashioned. Elsie, May, you know, the Gaskells. These are the names in it. It describes her growing up, her relationship with her mother, her non-existent father, who her mother keeps describing to her in these great romantic stories about this wonderful relationship she had with him. But as the book, you know, unfolds, we realise that her mother is a single parent, that she's been cut off from her family. Lisa eventually does meet her grandmother. Very strong female characters in this, don't know what anyone thought of that. And gradually then more men enter the book. And there is a twist in it. There's a sort of somewhat implausible twist, I think, towards the end. By then, I sort of lost interest in it. I thought it started better than it finished. And I think that there's really, it lacks a sense of depth. Okay. The men in particular, I think, are caricatures in it. You have the good guy and the bad guy. There's no sense of real fleshing out of the male characters, whereas the women are much better
We'll come back to much of that in just a moment. But let's have a listen to the author, Marion O'Neill, reading an extract from Daddy's Girl. Lisa's mum telling her of how she first met Lisa's dad.
For as long as Lisa could remember, it was her and her mum always looked out for her. Her dad couldn't. Her dad wasn't there, never had been. But her mum looked after that too. Her mum told Lisa all the stories she had to tell about Lisa's dad, and Lisa never got tired of hearing them. She loved the stories about how handsome her dad was, how his hair licked down low over his face, almost as low as his chin, and how his trousers clung tight and his shirts gleamed white, how all the girls flocked